This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement.
Hey, what's going on, Blueprint Nation? Welcome to another dope episode of the Respect My Blueprint podcast, where we give you the blueprint on how to do shit around here, okay? And in today's episode, man, you are going to be super excited about this. Some of you guys that are working your 9-to-5s are, waking up, you're tired of going to work, and you living paycheck to paycheck. You think you're stuck in the rat race. But what if I told you the money that you're saving or you should be saving and your employer is helping you save with that thing that's called a K could actually help you build wealth for yourself? And in today's episode, I have an expert in this field who is going to share with you the tips, the strategies, the secrets under the hood. More important, the blueprint on how you can leverage your 401k, how your retirement savings into actually building wealth for yourself. So I hope you're ready to tune in, and you better stay through the entire episode. No skipping. Our guys want you to stay all the way to the end as we're going to learn the secrets on how to build wealth with my main man, my friend, and my guest today, Matt Ruttenberg. How you doing today, my friend?
Very good. Thanks, Wes. I appreciate the intro and excited to talk about this.
Yes. Well, the intro of course, gave a little sample size and taste of what the discussion is going to be about and maybe what your expertise is. But obviously, I want you from your own self, if you give an elevator pitch to the audience here, number one, who is Matt? Okay. And, Wesley, you talk about this 401k thing. So what does he has to do with it? So if you could kind of tell the audience a little bit about yourself to kick things off a little bit.
Yeah. Who is this guy that we're talking to today? Yeah. Matt, my name is Matt Ruttenberg. And so I'm a third generation financial expert, if you will, grandfather, father. I started in the, as I call it, B2C, like really digging into the individual financial practice. And at the end of the day, I ended up molding that more into the B2B side. Been doing this for over 20 years. So I guess the second half of my career, I really wanted to focus on entrepreneurs and business owners and serial entrepreneurs because that is who my peers are. I was working with a lot of retirees in Florida, and that was like that. I don't want to work with retirees. Those aren't my peers. It was a little mundane, same thing every day. Groundhog's Day. We've already gotten to the savings part. Entrepreneurs are it's a whole nother breed of individual, in my opinion. Like they want to, their ability to understand the leverage and the risk and the hard work it takes to build something, and then being able to use that for something, build other things. So I love the mindset of it. I love talking to entrepreneurs. Every single business owner has a different mindset of something. So every single conversation is completely a learning lesson.
That's dope. And so the B2C, which of course, so you was originally, when you started off, you was just helping, regular people, regular 9-to-5 folks, or just regular, individuals. But now, like you say, you're switching to entrepreneurs. And for those who are unaware, which first of all, I want you to give your explanation, but a 401k is a retirement savings plan that businesses offer to their employees in order to be able to build a retirement savings, right? So in your sense, in your expertise, if you can, number one, break down what is a 401k and how does it benefit an entrepreneur?
Yeah. And actually, let's take a step back a bit on that. Okay. So like for those of you who are listening, who are at a 9-to-5 and you have the 401k, you're looking at it from the employee perspective, the employee benefit side of it. And that's one, I'd say, small component of the 401k space. It allows the employees to save and stockpile for retirement. But flipping the page onto the entrepreneur side, the business owner side of it, it is an absolute tool that the business owner needs to understand what you can do with it as opposed to what you're doing for your employees. So for example, it should be used as a tool, not just an employee benefit. The 401k code, which is one of many tax codes out there, it's just one, but it's built for the business owner. We just have to make sure that we take care of the employee. I call them fairness rules. It's like this all this compliance annual testing that my company does.
Right.
If you take care of the bare minimum for the employee, you can stockpile. I mean, stockpile into your plan.
So the original intention of the 401k was for entrepreneurs, not really for the employees. The employees just are a beneficiary of it. That's what you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
that's a great way to put it. Beneficiary of it. Yeah,
Okay.
it is all around. I mean, fairness to the employees. That's like the absolute priority to the IRS and
Wow.
to ERISA and the Department of Labor. It's take care of the employees. Check. Now it's your turn, employer. Do all these things. I mean, high six digits of contributions into these things. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings and taxes per year if you design it right. And if you understand that's not just a boilerplate, black and white IRS code, it is a tool, a tax strategy, just like all these other tax strategies that are out there, like cost segregation and tax credits and all these different, leveraged tax strategies. This is one of those. You just got to know how to do it.
And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you are aware of this. I read this article on the Wall Street Journal. Correct me if I'm wrong. You may have more insight on this because this was years ago. How Peter Thiel, the well-known investor, I'm switching gears a little bit, but
Sure.
I think he used a Roth IRA to be able to go ahead and accumulate, if I'm not hundreds of millions or billions of dollars using a Roth IRA. So you gave a little insight there on how these vehicles, these instruments are truly beneficial for the employers. As like you said, it encompasses the tax code. But again, one of the boxes that needs to be checked is just taking care of the employees. But like you say, you could accumulate massive amounts of wealth with it.
Yeah. And looking at it, the IRA stands for individual retirement account, right? It's built for one person. It's you as the individual. And Roth IRA is a very powerful tool. And for those of you who aren't really sure, I know you explained this a couple of weeks ago, but the money you put into it, you've already paid taxes on it. Right. It goes in, you never have to pay taxes on that amount that you put into it, but everything grows tax free. So in the end, when you retire, you have a tax free bucket of money to jump into. Right. So, but on the business owner side of it, the 401k side of it, and this is kind of, I don't want to hit you with a fire hose here, but think of an upside down 3-tiered wedding cake. Okay. Upside down 3-tiered wedding cake or upside down pyramid. I call it the retirement plan stack, right? And the bottom layer is the 401k. Then you get into profit sharing above that. Then you get into defined benefit plans where you're contributing hundreds of thousands of dollars into it per year. The very bottom layer can be Roth. So 23,500 is a Roth 401k. Okay, so
that's the max.
Exactly. That's the max in 2025, right?
Okay.
And then there's a strategy. If you don't have employees, I know probably a lot of listeners are solo entrepreneurs in this
exactly
in this audience, right?
Right.
So you can say, hey, I take that back. I want to turn that first 70,000 into Roth per year. 7,000 is your Roth IRA. Then you can do 23,500 as another level of Roth, and then you can do another 46.5 as long as it's called a mega backdoor Roth conversion. So what you're doing is you're contributing into it's called after tax, and you immediately convert it over to Roth, and you just put down $70,000 into your Roth in an individual year.
And this is all tax free.
Moving forward, you pay taxes today, right? Just like the Roth IRA, and then you'll have a big bucket of money in retirement.
So
that's tax-free.
So for the business owner, let's peel the onion back. Let's simplify it for the common viewer right now.
Sure.
So the upside down layer cake, typically as of 2025, most you could put in is 23,500.
Yeah, that's the 401k side of it, the bottom layer, the smallest layer. Yeah.
The smallest layer. The second layer, which is the profit sharing, you said, right? Or that's the third layer? The profit sharing.
No, that's the second layer, yeah.
The second layer is the profit sharing. That layer would allow you to be able to put in 70,000.
Yeah, so when you're looking at those two layers, right? You have the 23,500. And then an additional 46,500 of profit sharing is what you're allowed to do. That puts you to $70,000. So if you want pre-tax money, you can go all 70,000 as pre-tax. But if you want to do Roth, what you're doing is you're extending that bottom layer and pulling it all the way up to the second layer, and now it's all Roth. Now there's some money movement that needs to be done there, and some strategic plan design that we have to take care of. This isn't something you can go to like Fidelity and Vanguard and say, hey, I want to do a mega backdoor Roth conversion. It has to be designed a certain way. Think about it this way.
Okay.
You can go to LegalZoom and get a boilerplate legal document, correct? You just plug in your name. You're like, boom, I have a buy-sell agreement. I have a will. I have a trust, whatever it is. Or you can hire the attorney and customize it to exactly the way you want it. I'm the attorney in that situation where you go to Fidelity, their LegalZoom. It's plug and play. It's called a prototype plan document. It's boilerplate versus custom. So there's so many little pieces of gray area, and we're just scratching the bottom 2 layers. I'm not even done yet, right? That's the gray area of those 2 layers. We have more above and beyond that. So that's just, yes, you can go all in on the Roth. Now, there's 2 philosophies out there. Roth, yeah, pay your taxes. You have a big bucket of money.
Right.
And then you have a big bucket of tax-free money in the future. The other side of the coin there is don't pay your taxes. Go all pre-tax. So if you have $1,000 you want to contribute, right? By taking that off the top, so Uncle Sam and the IRS don't bill you. So let's look at it this way. Let's say you make $50,000 a year, and you want to contribute $10,000 into your 401k, and you're like, do I do Roth or do I do pre-tax? Okay, so what tax bracket are you in? Let's say you're in the 25% tax bracket, right? So if you go pre-tax and put $10,000 out of your $50,000 into a pre-tax 401k.
Okay.
Uncle Sam is going to bill you on your taxes for $40,000
versus
not
the
50,
okay.
right?
Because 10 is going into this account, right?
And if you're in the 25% tax bracket, you just saved yourself $2,500 in taxes for that year. Okay. So you say, all right, well, instead of $10,000 I contribute, I want to contribute $12,500, and then that's going to grow and compound over time. Yes, you will have a large bucket of taxable money, but theoretically, you're earning interest on the taxes you saved. So it's triple compound interest is basically what you're doing there. So that is one theory. Like it's split in 2. What do I do? It's more of like business owners need a lot of tax write-offs, right? At the end of the day, they're trying,
right?
So you think about, do I do Roth?
Right.
And it's good to have all the buckets when you get to the end game, the retirement game, right? It's like, I want to have some Roth. I want to have some pre-tax. I want to have some tax-free. I want to have some taxable. You do all of it. It's just, that's basically how that all works.
So, okay, Mitch, I want to go ahead and separate the show into 2. We're going to talk about the business owner side. Then we're going to go ahead and talk about the individual side. So I want to stick on the business owner side. So I own a bakery. I'm a baker. Right. I just want to start. I'm just now starting off my business. 1 employee, maybe 2, me and someone else. Right. I want to be able to utilize this to fulfill 2 buckets here. Number 1, to be in compliance in the aspect of providing employee benefits as well as offering K and satisfy the government aspect. But also, I want to ultimately benefit myself to build wealth. Right. And like you said, you can build 6 figures. If I'm not mistaken from my original phone call, if you do this strategically, you could even build millions of dollars into your savings plan here. So what is the blueprint? What's the roadmap as a business owner? Me, I'm that baker with that mindset. Give me a blueprint on how to do it.
Yeah. So like you said, compliance, right? Half the states, actually, no, 43 out of the 50 states have a mandate either in place, coming, or on the table, proposed. Okay. So that means you as an employer have to have something for your employees. A lot of them are like, if you have 5 or more employees, but you get the gist on that. So, it's coming down. It's coming for sure. Like California is in place right now. 2025, they just had to, if you have 1 or more now, this is the date, this is the year. Maryland, Colorado, Ohio's on its way, Illinois, lots of them are saying you got to do something. The only ones that have nothing on the table is probably an easier way to explain it. Florida, Texas, Montana, I think it's New Jersey, one of the Dakotas. I can't remember which one of these.
Yeah.
But, so those are the ones that have nothing planned at all. So you can do whatever you want. But going back to compliance standpoint, right? So again, the 401k tax code is built for the business owner as long as you take care of your employees. So that bottom layer,
right,
it's called a safe harbor 401k. A safe harbor 401k allows you to choose an option, a matching schedule. So you give your employee this match. Now you can do whatever you want. If you don't choose that, then you're limited And I won't go down that path. That's a long story.
Okay.
Safe harbor 401k is level 1. And
Level
then
1.
up top,
Okay.
up top. Now here's the kicker: if you have employees, you cannot do that mega backdoor Roth up to $70,000. You are
If you
not
have
allowed
employees,
to.
you cannot do it.
You fail your annual tests, and it's a really in-depth conversation that we can have another day. Or anybody who wants to meet with me, I can explain it to them. But if you have an employee, you're capped at that 23.5 on the bottom level. That's what you can do with Roth. You cannot do that 46.5 difference. So
At
that has to be profit sharing.
That's per employee. Per employee.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Including your spouse. So if you're married,
okay,
hire your spouse. Now between the two of you, now you got 47,000 on that bottom layer alone, right?
Exactly.
So just give them, some, as long as you're giving them at least 23,500, they can save that out of their 401k and go straight into the 401k bucket, right?
Okay.
So same with your kids. Okay. You can hire zero. You can be 0 years old and contribute to a retirement account. I'm telling you, there's strategy with kids.
What? That's crazy.
Kids, minors can get paid up to, $15,000 completely tax-free.
15,000 tax-free. Okay.
So a lot of people will say, oh, my kids are paying their own way for soccer or ballet or whatever it is. I'm just paying it to them. It's completely tax-free, and you shoot it off, and now the kids are paying for their own stuff.
Wow.
Right? So
anyway,
that's another strategy.
Genius. Yeah, that's another strategy. I like that. Okay.
But going back now, you're doing profit sharing, right? And our goal on profit sharing is to say we want to give the business owner, this is the second layer now, right? So safe harbor, layer 1. Layer 2 is now profit sharing because you have that employee. You cannot do the Roth up there. Our goal is to give most of that money to the employer, not the employee. So we target the owner.
Right. Okay.
The goal is to give the bare minimum to the employee and most of it to the employer. Okay. So that gets them up to $70,000. There's some income calculations that we get into. That's $70,000 right there.
Right. Okay.
Third layer. So let's say this is a really, really profitable bakery, like you said, right?
Right.
So whatever it is, I don't care. It doesn't have to be bakery. I mean, we have professional athletes. We have celebrities that do this top layer and some IT people. There's, every industry is on the table to make a lot of money these days, right? It's not just the doctors
there's no
and the lawyers.
Right. Okay.
No. So if we have, I'll tell you right now, let's say it was a husband-wife combo. Okay. This is a plan we just built out. Okay. Husband-wife combo, own the company, no employees. We put $575,000 between layers 1, 2, and 3 every single year. Contributions every single year, and that's going to save them $225,000 in taxes every single year. We've built another plan where 2 owners, 18 employees, $1 million per year in the entire stack for every employee plus the owners.
Right.
930,000 of that went to the owners. 93% efficiency rating, all pre-tax. Over $400,000 in tax savings for that business. So it is there. You can do these things. 401k, this is the phrase I will use for the rest of my life. Not all 401ks are created equal. You can go boilerplate or you can go custom. And which one are you going to do? It depends on what. We always ask 2 questions to every single client. Number 1, why are you here? Why are you talking to us? Is this for you? Or is this for your employees? Or because the state's telling you? Or what is it? Why are you talking to us? And then what is it, the ideal amount that you, the owner, want to contribute? Because everything has to do with what does the owner want to do, not what the employees want.
Right. Okay. I see. Wow. So this can, for most business owners, which paying taxes in business, that's a requirement. And like you said, you want to write off as minimal as taxes. That's the goal, right? Not the goal. That's what it should be, right? But you could use this vehicle to really get a tremendous amount of tax savings. Like you said, the one with the $1 million was able to save what, 900 or 400,000
in taxes?
In tax savings.
Tax savings was over $400,000 in taxes.
Yes, over 400,000. Which if they never entered into this particular plan that you presented to them, that's $400,000 annually that they would have to pay to the federal government. Wow. And this can be done even, like you say, with 0 employees.
Those are the most fun because we don't have to worry about the fairness rules. That's 100% efficiency rating on that one, right? You don't have to give any money. No. That's 100% efficiency rating. No employees have to take any money on that one. It's just you. So if you have a contractors, VAs, whatever.
Oh yes,
there's no 1099 contractors that you pay are not
Right.
eligible for a 401k plan. They can create their own 1K because they're self-employed.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, it's dramatic.
Wow, this is phenomenal here. So you've mentioned even athletes and everything. So in other words, business owners can actually accumulate millions of dollars if they strategically set up the right plan through a 401k vehicle then.
Oh yeah.
Just a tax savings.
yeah.
Okay, now let's flip on the flip side. Because I want to make sure I give us equal amount of time for the
Sure.
for the employee. Now, you said in 2025 the mandate is coming down. The max is 23,500 for them. All right,
Yeah.
but I'm an employee of this bakery now, right? I want to benefit, maybe not as much as the business, but I do want to be able to use this retirement savings plan to build wealth for myself.
Yes.
What's the blueprint on for the employee to do so?
And then I want to take it a little bit step further too after I explain this part of it. So for the employee of the bakery, right? So obviously, there's two types of employees inside of a company from a 401k perspective. Okay, one is called highly compensated employee. That's the owner, the kids of the owners. 5% or more owner is what I should probably say that. So 5% owner or more, spouse, kids, and anyone who makes over 155,000. Those are considered highly compensated employee. Those are put into one bucket. Okay. Those are the ones that, I'll be honest with you, the IRS is like, yeah, you can do all this, but we don't really care. We want to take care of the other folks inside of it. We got to make sure that they're taken care of. So everything that the highly compensated employees do is based on what the non-highly compensated employees do. Okay. So that's why if we say we got to do safe harbor, it's because it's like, we don't care. They don't have to contribute anything, but you offered it. So boom, now the highly compensated can do whatever they want. Okay. So put that on the table.
Okay.
So they can max out 23.5 all day long.
The high comp. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's 100% of your paycheck up to 23.5 is what the employees can do per year. Okay. And then they get to match on top of that from whatever the business decides to create as a matching schedule. Now, if the owner cannot do that big Roth portion of it, correct? We established that they can't do up to the $70,000, but you can still turn that on, if you will, for your employees, even though the owners can't do it, or that 155 employees still can't do that because
the other bucket, the employees are able to do so.
They can. So they can say, as long as you make $70,000, it's still going to flow through your paycheck because it has to come. You have to withhold it from your paycheck. You can have 70. It's called an after-tax contribution, and then we have to convert it over. So very specifically designed to allow that, but they can do up to $70,000 out of their paycheck between the 23.5 match the business owner gives them plus the rest of it, 70,000. It's called a mega backdoor Roth. Okay, so they can do that. They're allowed to do that as long as it's turned on and we're not using a legal Zoom version of 401k plans. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's say employee has a side hustle,
which most people do nowadays,
which I think a lot of your audience has. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to create a side hustle or create their own business to get away from the 9 to 5, right? Upside down wedding cake, right? But let's just focus on the bottom two layers here. All right. So the bottom layer, right, is, let's say their day job. Okay, they're 9 to 5. They're max funding the 23,500. You can only hit that 23.5 one time. You can have 4 from K plans, but you can only hit it a total of 23.5 every year. So you can split it up, but you can't hit 23.5 and then another 23.5. That's it.
Okay.
But the top layer can be double dipped. Okay, so this is for somebody with a day job and a side hustle business. So you max fund your 23.5 at work, and get your match. And let's say even profit share. Let's say they do profit sharing and give you another 10 grand on top of it. Okay. As long as the entities, which is your day job and which is the bakery, for example. All right. And then they own a online coaching business.
An e-com thing.
E-com has nothing to do with bakery items. It's not funding anything. You can do an entirely another 25% of that number of whatever you earn from that. 20 or 25%. There's a little bit more like how you filing and things like that on top of what you just did at work. So
Really?
You could technically hit $100,000 if you have a successful side business.
If you have a successful, right? So because it's only 25% of whatever the side hustle is, the ecom business is making, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So 23.5 is the most you can get from the bakery. But however, 25%, if you have a six-figure or, multi six-figure ecom business, 25% of that is the maximum you could be able to.
Yeah, 20 or
contribute.
25%, depending
20
on
to
how you file your
25%.
taxes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, so like if you don't have an entity at all on your side hustle, you're just flowing through, you're filing a Schedule C, okay, because
Right.
it's a self-employed income. You don't have to have an entity to open up it's called a solo 401k.
sole prop.
You don't have to have anything.
Oh,
just
wow.
self-employed income. You could go mow grass as long as you report it, and they hand you cash. As long as you report it, you can open up a solo 401k.
Really? So
Yeah.
wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. You're dumbing this down to almost anybody could do this. Like
Anybody with self-employed income, the types of income we can use to offset income with a 401k are W2, obviously, right? W2.
right. Uh-huh.
Schedule C,
Right.
which is most self-employed income flows through as a Schedule C. Okay.
Right.
So if you're a 1099 contractor, let's say you have a bunch of 1099 contractors that you use to help you with the channel. All of them, even though they don't have an entity, they're going to file a Schedule C on their tax return. Okay.
Correct.
As long as you have Schedule C, then you can offset that. You can also use K1 partnership, things like that. There's a couple other ones there, but if you file a Schedule C, you do not have to have an LLC. You do not have to have a sole proprietorship. You don't have to have anything. As long as you're filing a Schedule C, you can open up a solo 401k.
And this can be open through any your traditional. Now, this is not your conventional Wells Fargo, Chase, or
You could.
Or, okay.
You could. The problem with the boilerplate versions, as I called it earlier, is sometimes the folks who work there aren't really in depth 20-year veterans inside the business.
They're not well versed. Let's go ahead and say it. Yeah. They don't know what the hell. Yeah.
They're kind of saying blindly, yeah or no. Yes,
right.
You can do it. Okay. No, you can't. So I guess what I'm saying is don't be afraid to ask questions. Get a second opinion. I train CPAs. I train financial advisors because this world is a small corner of the overall financial services world, and not everybody understands it. So get your opinions. Feel free to ask questions.
Right.
Don't wait until your tax bill is due, because and I should probably say this too, everything above the first layer on that upside down tiered wedding cake isn't due until the day you file your taxes, including extensions. So you could say, I want to file an extension because I don't have anything ready, right? On April 4th, 15th. And then you push it off till October. That's filing an extension. You still have to pay your estimated taxes, right?
Right.
You don't have to implement or contribute until that day in October or September, depending on how you file.
The extension date, exactly.
For the previous year. So we're still doing stuff for 2024. We're starting for 2025, but we're also doing 2024.
2024.
Yeah, as we record this.
Wow. So Matt, that's so. And of course, there's you could go the Fidelity, Vanguard, and all of these other brokerage institutions and things like that. To
custodians, basic custodians. Right.
Yeah. And of course, if I'm not mistaken, there's mechanisms where you can can be done automated, right? You can have an automated set amount coming out of your paycheck. And the reason why I'm asking you this, because I want the audience and the viewers I want to remove the fear of maybe like, man, I've never done this before, but wow, I'm interested. It's like, hey, anyone can do this. It's really as simple as setting up an account, putting the right automations in place, and boom, you're ready to rock and roll, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. It's that first 23.5 is really, really easy. It's just set it and forget it, invest it and forget it. And then all the other layers are just done like, hey, we're going to calculate how did 2024 look? Great. Let's plug those numbers in. And now you can put this much more into it if you want. Everything is discretionary. You have a bad year, you don't do it. That's it. You just don't contribute. You're not stuck into any of this stuff. It's all discretionary.
Oh, wait a minute. So it's mandatory. So you could do 1 year, skip a year, and then another year. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So wow, that's another great benefit, right? Okay. Well, here's the kicker. Okay. like life insurance has that negative connotation of like, hey, I get a life insurance policy, I really can't benefit, or my family can't benefit on this thing until I pass away, right? But on the flip side, most people don't realize with a life insurance policy, there's benefits that you could receive throughout the term of the policy, right?
Oh
We
yeah.
won't go into depth about it, but in the sense of the 401k and retirement savings plan, sometimes people have a negative connotation. Man, I got to wait till I'm old to be able to
Oh
cash out
yeah.
on this
Yeah.
thing, and I don't get any of the benefits to it. So if you could share what some of the benefits you can receive throughout the duration of the savings plan as well too.
Yeah, and I do want to add that we are big insurance strategy advocates for sure.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there's multiple reasons from an entrepreneur side, like a lot of real estate investors do it, but from an entrepreneur side, sometimes it doesn't make sense to put money in your 401k because you have to give
Okay.
too much to your annual testing to your employees. So we say,
Right.
all right, well, let's use because the life insurance mocks, it isn't, but it mocks a giant Roth. Okay. It's all tax free. Okay.
Right.
That's the life insurance side of it. Right. So
Right.
sometimes we'll say, hey, we can't get more money in, even though the business owner wants to put in as much as humanly possible. We're stuck because we're in the red. We had to give 55,000 to the employees, but we could only put in 60. That just doesn't make sense. You lose
It
all your,
doesn't.
I mean, yeah, you're giving it to them instead of the IRS, but ideally you want to give it to yourself. So sometimes we'll say, okay, we can't do that. So let's go find some other tax codes to offset that contribution into the life insurance. And then you have a tax-free Roth in the future. So scratch the itch today, move forward with tax-free in the future. But
Got it. Okay.
going back to your other question, there's multiple ways to get your money out of a 401k early. Now, this is 401k is one piece of the overall pie, right? Like you can do the
Right,
life
okay.
insurance, you could just do brokerage, you could do whatever. You could have income producing assets, which I'm a big advocate for. Like I like self-directed 401ks, and you can buy real estate inside your 401k. You can do all these things. But
Hold on. We're going to come back to that. Yeah, I'm going to let you finish your
Part
thought.
two
We'll
next
get back
week,
into
right?
that. Yeah.
Okay. No, we'll come back. So I got another one for you too. There's two rules that you can use to get to your money early. Two of a few more, let's just say.
Right.
So one is
Okay.
called the rule of 72T, and that allows you to start withdrawals out of your. This can be your IRA even, but 401k IRA, it doesn't matter. But
Okay.
it allows you to withdraw before 59 and a half. You just have to do it in a systematic fashion over your life. So you have to say, okay, I'm going to take out $10,000 a year, and you're fine. You lose that 10% penalty that you would take if you withdrew before 59 and a half. The other one is called the rule of 55.
Rule
and the rule of 55 is as long as it's inside of the last 401k you have, so your own 401k, as long as the 401k is still up and running, you can start taking withdrawal. You can take money out at age 55 with no penalty. So it has to remain in the 401k. If it's yours, great. And it has to be your last 401k. So you can't roll into you can't pull from the other one that you used to work at before you move. You just have to roll them all over into the other ones.
Okay. Yeah. So those are the two main vehicles. Rule 72T, which a systematic way up until you 59 and a half, and rule 55, pretty much like you say, 55 as long as you meet that qualification. Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a few corners to turn to make sure you get it right, but yeah, so that's how you get into it. And then let's come back to go ahead.
But I was going to say, but you just mentioned, which you said real estate, that automatically lit me up inside. Let me broaden it a little bit. Your 401k can also be a vehicle where you could leverage, right? If I'm not outside of real estate, you could leverage it as collateral for a down payment, collateral for funding, or so. Well, here's a better question. Can you use your 401k or retirement savings as leverage? How about that?
Oh my God, absolutely.
Right?
Okay. All right. This is fun. This is the fun part here. So, okay, is a code. It says nothing about what you're investing in, right? It's same with the IRA, right? So a lot of people say, I don't want to invest in mutual funds inside of my 401k. That's fine. You can do index funds. You can do mutual funds, stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency, real estate. You can act as a private lender. You can do all these different things inside of it. It just has to be considered a self-directed. So think of the 401k as like an umbrella. Okay. You can only have one 401k under each business, under your business, but you can have as many custodians as you want. So I can say, I want to use Fidelity because I like to self-direct in stocks and bonds. Great. They don't allow you to buy real estate property inside of Fidelity. So we got to bring in a bank that knows how to do that. So we add a bank account in the name of the 401k. Oh, we want to do cryptocurrency too? Okay, Fidelity doesn't do crypto. My bank account obviously doesn't do crypto. So let's do this custodian and buy the crypto in that. And it's all under the same contribution limits that we talked about. Not to mention, there's something called a ROBS 401k. For those who are trying to figure out how to fund their new business, you can roll your old day job 401k into your new ROBS 401k and buy shares of your new company to help fund it. And it's not a taxable event.
Really? So your
employees can do the same thing.
So typically your day job, that 401k, like you say, you're flowing it into your day job, flowing it into Roth, and you're buying shares of this side hustle, quote unquote, and you could leverage that to go to a hard money, private money, whatever the case may be. Say, hey, I'm looking for 20, 30,000, whatever the case may be, to fund my business.
Yeah, so that you can't commingle it all underside the plan. It's just a part of the pie, right, of the funding.
Right.
Same with buying real estate inside of your 401k. It's called a self-directed 401k. The property is owned by your 401k. You can't take half of your money outside of it and partner with your other. There's a lot of commingle rules. This is clearly high-level stuff that you have to make
obviously,
sure the compliance is really clear. Yeah, so as long as you're not commingling your money and it's organized and it's tracked by an administrator like us, then you're golden. You can do all this all day long. The key thing here is if you have employees, whatever you offer your employees or yourself, you have to offer your employees. So if you allow real estate inside of your 401k plan, you have to allow them to invest in real estate. Not that they're going to do that. It's just that you have to allow it.
The option has to be available to them. Right. I see what you're saying.
You can get a mortgage inside of your 401k as well. It has to be a non-recourse loan, but you can mortgage. If you have $100,000, you need 500. You can do mortgage the next 400 and buy property with a mortgage inside your 401k plan.
I know you out there. The light bulb went off for a lot of you guys out there, not just me here. All right, I know the light bulb went off for a lot of you guys here.
Yeah, and I'm not done yet either. Too. So let's go back to 3-tiered wedding cake.
Okay,
bottom 2 layers, just whatever traditional investments. What you can do, real estate, doesn't matter. Whatever you want. Top layer, the 3rd layer, you can. This is about the highest level strategy we do on these. Half of that can be invested in a life insurance policy, like you talked about.
Right.
Okay. So when you put money, and there's so many, this is a very polarizing topic, but let's just put it this way. Like I said, not all 401ks are created equal. Not all life insurance policies are created equal. They have to be done the right way. But the money goes in after tax, like a Roth, and it grows tax-free like a Roth. And then you take loans against your policy, your life insurance policy, which is when you take a loan against your property, your home equity line of credit, that's a tax-free transaction. Same thing here. You're taking a loan against an asset. That's why it's tax-free inside a life insurance policy. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So traditionally the money goes in after you pay your taxes and then it grows tax-free, right? That's the life insurance in a nutshell.
Right.
If the top layer, which is called a defined benefit plan, owns the life insurance policy, all the money you put into it is pre-tax. Okay.
Right.
The death benefit remains tax-free. So the cash value is taxable. The tax-free is the death benefit because we actually send a 1099 out every year for a very nominal amount, under $1,000 per year.
Right.
So that leaves the death benefit tax-free. But here's where it gets really exciting here. So after 5 years-ish, I call it a qualified swap. Okay. You replace the cash value of the policy with outside assets outside of the plan. You pull the policy out, and now you just created this policy that was never taxed and now never will be.
Wow.
It's obviously like an HSA account, right? You get pre-tax money in an HSA, health savings account, and as long as it's used for health transactions, it's tax-free. Right. This is basically like it's taxed similar to a giant HSA.
Which HSA is a health savings account for those that don't know, right?
Correct.
Okay,
cool. That's another strategy business owners should be doing as well. So that's all pre-tax money as well. So
Wow.
just a whole other level of stuff that's available. I didn't want to go too far into it today because I just want to scratch the surface and let people understand.
Obviously,
Yeah, there's a lot. Okay. So there's also other things that we do with that, with other relatives to get more and more in those plans, more and more out of your top, out of your bottom line to get more into that with some multi-generational stuff in there. But it's a vast world, as you can see. So it's not just like, let's do 23.5. There's a lot more to it than that. Yeah.
Here's two more questions before we wrap up. And of course, at the end of the show, I'm going to encourage anyone and everyone that's watching this episode, definitely reach out to Matt and his team. And we're going to give all the information where if you guys want to go ahead and reach out to Matt, book a consultation and everything, he could be able to go ahead and break this down. Because again, we could do 2-3 parts of this episode. But the two questions I want to ask: number one, can you share a testimony? You kind of mentioned athletes and the couple you were working with, but give us an example of someone who maybe came to you just wanting to save a little money or start a typical plan, but the outcome, the result was extraordinary. If you could share just one, so the audience can have an example to go by.
I mean, every client
is different, right? And you don't have to give any specific names, just to generalize, right?
I'll just, most of the time, the default plan option for a tax professional that they give advice to their client is, let's do a SEP IRA. And a SEP IRA is one of the most basic. It's like a standalone profit sharing. Okay. Very rarely will I say that's the one that you should go with, but it is there. And sometimes it makes sense. But let's just say it's the default. Very, very simple. And often we'll say, okay, well, the solo 401k or the 401k in general replaces the SEP, and it's a much better calculations just to get more money in the plan. Just from that standpoint, the calculations are done differently to get more money in the plan. So check. That's step one. Then I'll say, do you need more? And sometimes each one of those layers is not like, let's do it all today. It's over the years where we'll consult with clients. Right. Okay. So as your business becomes more profitable, we're going to ask you every single year, do you need more? Do you need more? What else do you want? Do you need more? And we're like, yeah.
The question here, right?
It's very simple. More. It's like, do you need more help with your taxes? Yeah. Okay. What here? Let me get my box of options out here. So goodies. Yeah. So it's basically every year we'll say, okay, so we did the 401k. Let's just say you don't have employees. So we do a solo 401k. Great. You get to do up to the 70,000. Oh, you need more? Okay. Let's do the defined benefit plan. Get you over $100,000, $200,000 into that next year. Oh, you want to do more? Okay. Let's add the life insurance. Get you another 35% on top of it. Oh, you want more? Let's hire this person, hire this.
So it's like you're stacking that cake, like you're saying, right? You're really
you don't have to start. We do not have minimums because you need to be able to, the evolution of a business it's daily. First of all, I think if you're a business owner, you understand the ups and downs of it. But it's like you need to be able to pivot and add a layer or remove a layer or add 2 layers because you're like, holy my gosh, this year was nuts, but next year's going to be low. I got this huge contract, but next year's going to be low. Okay, let's and take it down. And then we shut it down. So being able to evolve and pivot is really, really, really important. So we are always communicating with the business owners because it's not like for the employee, it's set and forget it for that first 23. That's great because they have a steady paycheck for the most part.
Right.
Business owners are not that way at all.
It's not that way.
So not at all. Yeah. So
in other words,
you add it.
So when the best thing for the business owners, like you said, hey, I'm starting off, let me just go ahead, like maybe it's the SEP IRA, like you say, you start off with, and next year I'm making an extra $100,000 and you're going to approach them. Okay, hey, do you want to, how much more, or do you want to contribute more? I want to add the year after that, maybe we took a downturn, right? We lost a key client. Then you can say, okay, let's stick with what we got, or we could scale back a little bit, and then the previous or another year, then we could ramp up some more, right? So that's pretty much the concept there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll even there's a lot of times we'll say start with an IRA. Don't do the SEP. Do the 7,000. We say that second question we ask: how much do you want to save? If it's $5,000 or if it's 7,000 or less, just go do an IRA. It's way easier. You don't have to worry about the compliance of your employees and all that. Just do the IRA. You can do an IRA without offering anything to your employees as long as, the state mandate there are state options. The state funded versions of all this, which is just, it's a bag of IRAs. You don't have to give them any money. You can't give them money. There's no cost to it. But so if you're in growth mode and you're like, I'm reinvesting every penny I can into my business, we're not going to say do all 3 layers. We're going to say do the bottom layer or even lower, and then just do what you have to do and reinvest in your business and call us when you're ready to. I mean, there's a lot of times we'll get a 45-year-old who just looks up and like, wait, I got a lot of taxes I got to deal with, a lot of profit after 20 years of working in their business. You don't have to start it all the time right off the bat. It's an evolution, and being able to pivot is really important.
All right, final question here is, what's one piece of advice? Because I typically ask this question to all my guests here, and I'm pretty sure, and I would love to hear yours. What's one piece of advice for, the viewers building their blueprint that you would like to share with them? And it could be generalized or in the context of what we've shared here with the retirement savings. What's one piece of advice you would provide them for them to be able to build their blueprint?
Evolve, be okay with evolving is one. I'd say there's a really good book on that. It's called The Alchemist. It has nothing to do with business, but it has to do with being able to evolve and understand like every step you do is leading you to the next step. But 2, I'm an advocate of building a team around you.
Yes.
Don't try to DIY it all, because you're going to miss it. You're going to miss things. I know it stinks because in business, you're like, I need the paycheck, or I want the paycheck. Sometimes the business is a net game of everything. It's always net. It's a net of the gross. And if you need to pay someone, yes, your net's going to go down, but it's going to allow you to bring in more net, if that makes sense. So
that makes sense.
Building a team, it stinks because like when you're starting out, you're like, I need the money. I want to, I got to pay my bills. I got to do this. I got to do that. But at the same time, it's like, business is all about the net, and it's okay to do it that way. It just might take a little bit longer if you build it the right way like that. So be patient. Sense. Yeah.
That's absolutely great. Matt, man, this has been one of the most riveting episodes, because I want to say it's part selfish, and I'm sorry guys that's watching this, because most of the questions I will ask for my benefit, right? Because as you guys notice, I took a ton of notes over here, because I'm going to go ahead and exercise a lot of what you shared, Matt. And this is, like you say, a small corner that people are unaware of, that a lot of people just unaccustomed to. But believe it or not, there's tremendous tax savings, there's a tremendous leverage, and it's a tremendous wealth building tool that I feel a lot of people need to be aware of. And with that being said, if you could go ahead and share with the audience, how they can follow you, how they can reach out to you, because I'm pretty sure there's not just a lot of questions, but a lot of inquiries as well too. So if you could go ahead and share that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us at mk.expert. mk.expert is a simple landing page. It's got some information on it, but the goal there is to connect with an expert. And that kind of like leads me into my final thought here is just ask questions. This is too big of a world to try to figure out. Yes, learn it. And so you understand the basics of it. But at the same time, sometimes you got to pick up the phone, because every single business is different. Every single plan is different. And there are deadlines to figure out. We talk to people for years before they implement anything. So it's just get the information, talk to one of our experts, and we'll be able to get you like, hey, what's the deadline for this? Okay, great. Table it, come back next year. That's fine. Whatever you got to do. We will ask questions all day long. We'll answer questions all day long, and then we'll talk to you later. That's totally fine. No problem.
Awesome. And as also, guys, the links will be in the description of the show. Please follow, and Matt, they can follow you also. I'm pretty sure you're on LinkedIn. That's how you're big on LinkedIn, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely cool. On LinkedIn. Okay. I am on TikTok with some more general financial conversation. It's been a long time since I posted on TikTok, but we are getting back to that. So there will be retirement options on there. So, but LinkedIn is where I am probably the most active.
All right. As long as we don't see you doing any TikTok dances over there, man. That's it. All right. We
Not anymore. No.
Oh man, well, Matt, you've been super tremendous. You've been dope, man. Thank you again. I think you've given tremendous value. You've opened up a lot of eyes and turned on a lot of light bulbs for a lot of people today. And I hope majority of today's viewers take advantage. They reach out, guys. Again, from K.Expert, reach out to Matt and his team. They'll be able to get you right when it comes to everything we've discussed today. And also check out the podcast every Monday and Friday. Again, as we give you the blueprint on how to do shit here. And as always, we're going to catch you on the flip side, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Blueprint, yeah. Blueprint. This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep, West Paul with Blueprint. This guests are exclusive. Get on and tune in and then learn some new tips about credit, finance, investment. A nice chance to get rich and buy land. Flip it, quick 9 bands. Learn all the skills from Wesley did it. Learn how to build successful business. Run up a mill and get the digits. Run up a mill. Look, safe place where guests are speaking. Based off financial freedom. All facts, no cap, believe it. Podcast, you have to see it.